Hi all, this is Joseph Smith, and I will be reviewing Birds of Prey. And I recently just saw this tonight, so this is a fresh review. And at first, I was kind of not excited for this movie because I was hearing and the trailers looked kind of sucky. They didn't look as good as was thinking it was gonna be. But y'all don't pay attention to the trailers because the trailers, they totally tell something different than from the entire movie, because this movie was way better than I was even expecting. And let's first get into the positives. So the positives, I gotta give my praise to Margot Robbie for doing this role. Obviously I have to say animated series is better, but she did an amazing job for what she did. Like, Margot Robbie did an amazing job as Harley Quinn, and I thought she did an amazing job. The reason why I say this is because there are some action scenes in this movie that are so well choreographed. It feels very Tarantino stylized violence, and that's what makes this movie so enjoyable, I would say, is the action sequences. And also, the other characters, like Cassandra Cain and Black Mask, Zsasz, all the other characters shine just as well as Harley Quinn does. But there are some that I'm going to get into my negatives on, where the character development didn't do as well as I wished it would. But first, we're going to talk about the positives. First things first, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie did an amazing job as this character. And I'm so glad this movie got an R rating, because without the R rating, the first Suicide Squad was PG-13, and it didn't show Harley Quinn at her best, and it didn't show her very violent, and that's how she is in the comics. She's very tormented, she's very violent, and I'm so glad that this movie really displayed that, and it showed she said the F word multiple times, and she kept on cussing a lot, and that's her character, and I loved seeing that. And I thought they did an amazing job by making an R rating, because, and even, I gotta get into Black Mask. Even McGregor, ever since Star Wars, I was into him. Like, ever since he did those prequel trilogy in Star Wars, I'm telling you, he is so good. Like, in this movie, he is such an asshole, but that's what makes his character so well, and how he portrays it is so good. Like, he's such a dick in some points. I'm not going to spoil some parts of why he's a dick, but y'all will see once you see the movie. But, oh my gosh, he is so good. He pulls it off so well. The cast is great. They have a really good cast ahead of them right now. And I thought they portrayed Zsasz so well in this movie, because in the comics, he gets all these scars, and you actually see the scars when he actually pulls his shirt up. And it's so comic book accurate. I got so excited. I was like, yes, they finally get it right for once. I'm so happy. But yeah, those characters, I was so happy they got it all right. And then with Black Mask, they gave him the asshole vibe, and that's how he is in the comics. And he does so well with it. And I do have to say that the plot was very well thought out. I thought they did an amazing job by some parts, but that's really all of it, mostly as I could think of. And I thought the action scenes were very well choreographed. That is the most important thing. For any action movie I see, the action scenes have to be so good, and they are gory in this movie. They are about as gory as anything, and I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome, because that is how Harley is in the comics, and it made me so happy. Anyways, so we'll get into the negatives now. So some negatives I have is there are some secondary characters that didn't get to show much, didn't get to have a lot of screen time, or their characterization wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. This, pretty much from the title you can tell that this movie is mainly focused on Harley Quinn. And I was also kind of glad that they didn't focus too much on the Joker breakup, because I didn't really like Jared Leto's Joker. So I was kind of glad that was scrapped out of the way. They only mentioned it like one time, and then that was it. I was glad about that. And then there's like so many other things that I was pretty negative about. It was like sometimes the narrative would kind of go, like, it would be kind of discombobulated. Like, some points it would say, oh, let's rewind, and it was like in the middle of an action scene, and I kind of wish they would have done it like maybe in a better setting, like maybe during like a really slow pacing, like how they would do sometimes in the movie, because it's narrated by Harley Quinn, and so if you have a problem though with like movies that like are narrated by the main character and there's lots of exposition, this movie might be a little, some parts might be it's not too hard to go through, but just I want you to keep that in mind, because yeah, it's a good to keep that in mind, because sometimes it gets kind of bogged down, but not like horribly. It's not like, it's just a nitpick of mine. But that's really it, honestly. It's just the exposition and just the secondary characters I wish could have a lot more screen time. And also on my rating scale, I'm going to rate this movie a 9 out of 10. And the reason why I would rate it a 9 out of 10 is just how good the action sequences were, and it was just very good overall, and it was just a very good comic book accurate movie that I just got so nerdy about, and I got so excited watching it. It was just so good, because the trailers look shit, and the actual movie, it turned out to be way better than the trailers. So sometimes just stay away from the trailers, because sometimes the trailers say something totally different than what the actual movie is. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, y'all. I will post the next review whenever I see another movie. See y'all.